So the answer to your question as it relates to that, we all know when, Vice President Kamala Harris ran for, Attorney General, and you can fact check me on this. News outlets said she's the first Indian American. She did run as Indian American, okay, and then she was chosen for the vice president nominee as the candidate for Joe Biden, and he was told that you will get a black woman. So then she says, well, here is a black woman. So in all fairness, when she asked that question to President Trump, that's a valid answer, because that's based on where she was in her life, what she chose to be at that time. So that's where that answer comes in. So she's the one that did this. She's the one that
hold on 1 second. I want to just make clear. I know we're on this panel.
But am I lying?
Excuse me, sir. Do not overtalk me. I'm going to give you an opportunity to speak. Excuse me. Do not overtalk me on my program. I am trying to give. That's why, if you would allow me to speak, I would clarify the opportunities for each of you on the panel to have a chance to speak and have your own point heard to an audience who's eager and speaking with bated breath to hear your opinion. But you cannot talk over each other. I want everyone to hear. So when you hear this voice or this ding, ding, ding of the Laura Code sound, please stop. Van.
But he ran into blackness, and he felt it. He felt the heat, the unconditional love, the masterpiece of the black woman that only an amazing God can take an Indian and a Jamaican and create somebody in his image, a black woman.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about President Trump doubling and tripling down on his claim that, hey, I didn't know Kamala Harris was black, okay? What I thought is that she was an Indian because she identified as an Indian up until it was politically convenient for her to start identifying as black, okay? And a lot of people in this country believe that, which is why Trump is basically doubling down on this line of attack against Kamala Harris. This is what he posted on Truth Social. He says, crazy Kamala is saying she's Indian, not black. This is a big deal. Stone cold phony. She uses everybody, including her racial identity. Bruh, Trump doesn't care. He doesn't care.
We're going to cook today is an Indian recipe.
Yes.
Because you are Indian.
Yes.
Okay, and I don't know that everybody knows that. But I find that wherever I go and I see Indian people at the supermarket, on the street, everyone's like, Kamala Harris is Indian, right? It's like the thing we're so excited about to have you running for president.
Yeah.
So we're both Indian,
yes,
but actually we're both South Indian.
Yes. You look like the entire one half of my family.
Okay, thank you.
You do.
I've been telling people we're related already, so this is perfect. It's basically true. And so were you raised eating South Indian food?
South Indian.
Wow. I'm just saying. This is Kamala Harris said, I'm Indian. Trump also posted this. He says, thank you, Kamala, for the nice picture you sent from many years ago. Your warmth, friendship, and love of your Indian heritage are very much appreciated. Wow. Yo, Trump is going full savage, bruh. He's going full savage. He doesn't care. I love it. I absolutely love it. I really do. And some of you guys may be uncomfortable with this. Like, I get it. I understand it. But Trump is using this strategy for a reason, okay? And the reason why is because a significant portion of this country actually does believe that Kamala Harris is fake. Not only do they believe that she's fake, they also believe that she is incompetent. Take a look.
And we do have it broken down as well. But this is, if you take everybody that was captured in the sample, what are the biggest words and descriptors that jump out? Number one, not a good sign for her, incompetent. Close behind, however, is a positive word, strong. And then you have probably in third place there, it looks like you've got liberal, which is something certainly that, they consider to be a vulnerability and the Trump campaign considers to be a vulnerability. Also, you have fairly high up there, which I think will be relevant when we talk about the NABJ block, fake. Some other things, you've got terrible, you've got leader, you've got smart, you've got awesome.
Little bit. That incompetent word, if we see, is very prominent, the biggest one amongst Republicans, but more critically here is independents. So we see a couple of things where last time around when we had our word clouds with Biden, old was the number one across all
everybody, including Democrats.
Right, but the advantage that you have here is that amongst Democrats, you have strong, you have honest, you have smart, you have competent, president, leader, positive, freedom, determined, charismatic, fresh. So what does that tell us? High levels of Democratic enthusiasm. Now, even amongst independents, you see some where if you look above the incompetent, you have incompetent, fake, terrible, literal, horrible, unqualified.
Young people really like Kamala Harris. The number one thing is strong. Then you get awesome, optimistic, lucky, that's a funny one, nice, brave, smart. Also, if you look on the left side of the graphic there, in relatively small print, but still abusing, is Brat.
Yes.
Charismatic, independent, leader, empowering, honest, cool. Very few, there are a few up here, but very few negative descriptors among the young demographic. You've got bad, dishonest, incompetent also shows up, but the overwhelming majority of the words are positive, and certainly the largest descriptors for that group are positive. If you go to the other end of the spectrum, 65 plus, this was an area where Joe Biden had some strength. This was like the group that was holding up the best for him over everybody. And the two words here that jump out in very large print are liberal and incompetent.
Yeah, so what I found to be fascinating about that graphic, guys, is that it basically confirms exactly what I already believed before I saw it, which is that the Republicans, their best line of attack against Kamala Harris is to attack her competency and her authenticity, okay? This is what I'm talking about when I say that Republicans should not walk away from the DEI conversation. Why do I say that? Because the DEI conversation is an attack on Kamala Harris's competence. The number one thing that comes to people's minds when they think about Kamala Harris is what? Incompetence. So this is why the mainstream liberal media is freaking out so much over the Republicans and their DEI line of attacks, is because they know that's her number one weakness, okay? It is questioning her judgment, if she's competent, if she can actually do the job, which again is the number one question that voters have when thinking about Kamala Harris. So again, when the mainstream liberal media comes out here boohoo, whining, crying, bigotry, and racism, they're not doing it because they actually really believe that. They know exactly what Republicans are saying. They're just doing it as a way to deflect because they know that it is effective. So what you see here is Trump not running away like most normal Republicans do when it comes to attacking Kamala Harris in ways that are actually effective. Again, because they don't want to have a policy conversation, okay? They refuse to. There's a reason why Kamala Harris has not done any interviews yet, because she knows that if she does any interview that is even just slightly hostile towards her, she's going to fall apart, okay? She's going to fold like a wet paper bag. So her whole strategy is the 2020 campaign strategy of hide in the basement. I'm going to try to campaign in these swing states, and I'm never going to do any national media interviews. I'm never going to have anybody question me. I'm never going to go in a hostile environment. That's what she's trying to do right now, guys. That's exactly what she's trying to do. This is why the same people that wanted to have the conversation about Trump being weird, all of a sudden, Kamala Harris is taking a high road. Well, I'm not going to address what Trump said about me not being black, right? I'm not going to address that. I'm just going to move on past it. Oh, really? Well, you were the same people that wanted to have the conversation about who's weird just before that. Now you don't want to have this conversation about something that a lot of people find to be weird, right? Again, it's amazing how that works. So although Kamala Harris is running away from this because, again, she really doesn't want to have this conversation, the mainstream media can't run away from it because, like Trump knew, they would cover this and they would start now asking questions openly about Kamala Harris's identity by essentially talking about what Trump said, which, again, is going to make a lot of people have questions about, well, is Kamala Harris actually black? Which is the last thing that the Democrats want, considering how she's only running on abortion and I'm a black woman.
You know what? I refuse. I refuse because this is nothing new. This is not new. We knew this was who he was. This is who he's always been. So I'm not paying him any mind except when I'm here. Okay?
That's smart.
But, you know, yeah. And why, you know, this is the same whole stuff he did with Obama.
Yeah.
You know, he made people think there was something wrong. You know, Obama, his mom was white, his dad was black. Now, if the KKK were chasing him, they say, there goes a black man.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay? If KKK was chasing Kamala, they say, there goes a black woman.
And if the KKK was chasing Trump, they'd say, it goes an orange guy.
Yeah. There you go.
I've been a member of the National Association of Black Journalists for about 20 years.
And the same sorority as...
And the same sorority, which is historically black sorority, right? Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. She went to an HBCU, Howard University. She was the president of the Black Law Students Association in her law school. She joined the Congressional Black Caucus when she became a senator. She is a black woman. And to your point, Whoopi, in this country, if you are biracial, but you have any drop of black blood in you, you are considered a black person.
That was the one-drop theory,
That's the one-drop theory.
Yes.
We didn't make those rules. No. Those rules were made for us. And I think when I'm a biracial person, right? I have a black father and a white mother. And the KKK is going to find me and round me up with every other black person. And so I think this is my lived experience and it's her lived experience. And I think to question someone's racial identity,
especially him,
the bar has fallen so low.
Yeah.
Guys, you know what's so funny about Sunny Hostin? Talking about how she adheres to the one drop rule, right? It shows how much of a colonizer she actually is, okay? Because her ancestors were slave owners, right? Her white side, okay, they were slave owners. And apparently the slave owners' descendants are still adhering to the old racist one drop rule. And they're using that as justification for Kamala Harris being black. Again, I just find the irony in that to be so hilarious, right? I really do, okay? It shows you how a lot of these people really lack self-awareness, okay? And a lot of these people are simply just out of touch with regular, normal, everyday people, because I'm telling you, normal, everyday people definitely are looking at Kamala Harris and saying that, yes, she is fake. She is phony, right? Again, there's a reason why Trump is using this line of attack, because people aren't stupid, okay? The internet exists, and there are a lot of people who happen to be black that do not believe that Kamala Harris is actually a black woman.
There's no evidence that her father has ever identified as a black man. Many people keep pointing out that the father looks like one of them East Indian Jamaicans and saying that she always identifies as black. No, she didn't. No, she didn't. We're not going to do that. We're not going to play that game. Because look at articles when Kamala Harris was out here in California. No, y'all not gonna play that she was always black. No, she wasn't. Hold on. The Sacramento Bee. Watch Kamala Harris sworn in as the first Indian American senator. All right? Don't play this game. You're not gonna play in our faces talking about she always identifies black. No, she didn't. This woman has always gave it up to the Indian side of her family. More articles. Kamala Harris becomes the first Indian American senator. All right? Progressive Indian grandfather who inspired Kamala Harris. She would always give it up to her Indian family. Where's all these collard greens and blues and jazz and Tupac? All that stuff, where'd that come from? This woman always gave it up for her East Indian family. Y'all not gonna sit here and play that game. Come on now. Don't act like we can't read. The Economic Times, the first Indian American senator in the U.S. They were big on that. That was her whole thing. An Asian American. All right? So yeah, this whole seasonal blackness, the fact that you think you can dip and dodge into what blackness is, no. That right there shows that you're not a part of the lineage. You're definitely not a foundational black American. We definitely know that. You're not a foundational black American. And again, article after article shows her identifying as an East Indian. Yeah? And that's what she is. She was raised by an East Indian mother. And that dad, many people are saying that low-key, he's East Indian too, possibly. Just because you say he's Jamaican, that doesn't always equate to black. And they always say her blackness is her going to an HBCU. That don't mean anything. Rachel Dolezal went to an HBCU. That don't mean anything. You see? See these games they're playing, ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah, so you see that, you heard that. Now, what I find to be fascinating about what Tariq Nasheed was saying there is this idea that you can't be black when it's convenient for you to be black, right? You can't dip and dodge out of blackness, right, so to speak, when it suits you for political purposes. Now, again, typically these type of conversations, I would be rather annoyed by. I am annoyed by it. But at the same time, again, this is a conversation that has to be had because Democrats want to have this conversation. Now, I personally think that this conversation is going to backfire on them because, again, Tariq Nasheed is one of these guys that is big on, the black community, FBA, black identity, okay? And that ideology is spreading, okay? I'm not sure exactly how widespread it actually is, but it is spreading, and I think it does say something about how black people are feeling about somebody like Kamala Harris and how a lot of people may look at it and say, listen, I don't appreciate that. Like, I don't like the fact that you weaponize your blackness whenever you want to get ahead politically, right? Because before you were mainly known as an Asian woman, right? And every now and then you might have mentioned that you could or could not be black, but there's no evidence that Kamala Harris is actually black. I mean, if you look at her birth certificate, her mom is listed as Caucasian, and the ethnicity of her father is listed as Jamaican. Just because you're Jamaican, that doesn't equal black. That doesn't equal black. And when you look at pictures of Kamala Harris' father, it's like, bro, this is not definitively a black man. Again, could be East Indian. I'm not saying he might not have some African roots. I mean, look, people were mixing all over the place. I mean, it is what it is. It's Jamaica, okay? That's generally what happened in Latin America, the Caribbean. So, I mean, it's possible that she could have some African ancestry. But I personally don't believe that Kamala Harris is even half black. Like, I don't think that her father is full black. And we know for a fact that her mother is full Indian. So I think there's a good chance that Kamala Harris is not even half black, but yet she's running on this label of I'm black. Like, I'm the stereotypical black woman. And it's like, no, we know for a fact that you did not have the so-called black experience growing up, okay? You grew up in an Indian household. Most of the information on you as a child strongly suggests that, hey, you mainly were in touch with your Indian side. So this Curry to collard green story it's just not making sense, right? It seems more political more than anything, okay? You are a chameleon. And again, a lot of people aren't going to appreciate that because it's almost like, okay, well, if you're faking your race, then what else are you faking, right? What else are you faking? What else are you willing to lie about? Basically, you're willing to lie about anything, right? If you're willing to lie about your race and who you are and how you grew up, you're basically willing to say anything for political gain, which is what they're doing right now. Kamala Harris low-key trying to change her policy positions, right? Trying to pretend like she wasn't some radical progressive back when she ran a Democrat primary in 2019. She's doing that right now as we speak. Transforming again, right? Trying to become something else, whatever she needs to be in the moment. Now, again, the reality is that there are a lot of black people who are not going to be offended by what Trump said. They actually respect the fact that Trump said it, especially in the place that he said it, because they all got the same questions too. Everybody knows that Kamala Harris didn't grow up in the stereotypical black family structure or the black family, so to speak. No, she did not. She was Indian. That's her culture. She's culturally Indian. She's not culturally black. I think that we can say that for a fact, right? Even if she got a little bit of African blood, maybe 25%, who knows? But regardless, my point is this. It doesn't matter what we do. The left and the mainstream liberal media, they're not trying to make this next election about policies. They want to make it about identity politics. And they're going to do that no matter what. So Trump is saying, you know what, F it. If that's what you want to do, I'm going to hit you where it hurts. I'm going to go for the knockout punch. Is Kamala black, right? Why y'all running around here talking about she's so black and all this stuff? Because ultimately, that's getting down to the core of who she is as a person. You know, you can say that, oh, well, Kamala's fake because she flip-flops on policies. Yeah, but again, that's not nearly as powerful of a line of attack as going after who she is as an actual person. Like, she is fake to the core. She will lie to you about anything. That's what got Elizabeth Warren. That's what racked Elizabeth Warren in the Democrat primary, was this idea that, oh, well, yeah, she's an Indian woman, right? She was claiming that Native American, more specifically, Native American. Turns out Elizabeth Warren is not Native American, right? That's why Trump was calling her Pocahontas. Y'all remember that? This is the same thing right here. Same thing right here. If people have questions about whether or not Kamala Harris is lying about her identity, that will make it a lot harder for people to line up and to vote for her, okay? Because you have no clue exactly who you're voting for, right? You vote for somebody who could be anybody, right? And I do think that is probably the most effective line of attack, because there are a lot of people that are offended and turned off by that, right? They don't like the fake, phony politician. And one of the things that is Trump's strongest attribute is the fact that he ain't fake and he ain't phony, right? You can say a lot of things about Trump, but he ain't fake and he ain't phony. And hey, maybe that's what Trump should make the election about, right? Hey, I'm real. At least for me, you know what, you get it. With Kamala, who knows, right? Nobody knows who she actually is. She doesn't know who she is, right? She is whoever she needs to be, which again, you know, is something that I think will make a lot of voters think twice about voting for Kamala Harris, like truly independent-minded voters. I really do. So, hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.